Chapter 1. The cheerful font on her "Hello, I'm Single" name tag was doing nothing to improve Tessa Smith's mood. 3 minutes into her first speed date, Tessa realized that entrepreneur was apparently code for "I trade meme cryptocurrency in my grandmother's basement." Halfway through her second date, she watched in real time as the man across from her wrote "Nope" next to her name with all the subtlety of a neon billboard. And when her third date plopped down before her, one who clearly had a liberal interpretation of the event's 25 to 35 age range, Tessa decided this was going to be a long evening. Sweet Rachel, Tessa's best friend, had organized tonight's romantic disaster. Tessa resolved to hate her for the next 45 minutes, just as she had through the previous 4 events she'd been dragged to by Rachel. As she watched the man in front of her pick his teeth while staring below her clavicle, Tessa wondered why she'd picked the world's kindest woman for a best friend. If she'd been smart, she would have picked someone horrendous. Then, whenever an extra person was needed for speed dating, she could have yelled no and stayed home watching Gilmore Girls reruns guilt-free. Not that Rachel would ever guilt her. If Tessa ever needed something, Rachel would drop everything without hesitation to help. So now, Tessa was trudging through a marathon of uninspired dates again. A bell rang out, signifying the round was over. The man in front of her excused himself and sidled off to the next table. Tessa forcefully crossed his name off her list, glaring daggers while Rachel flashed her a grin that promised, "I'll buy you ice cream after this." But Tessa's glowering was interrupted by the only thing that could have made her night worse: him. She'd first laid eyes on Nathan Munch at Rachel's inaugural speed dating night. Rachel had been so excited to organize it, and Tessa had happily agreed to attend in support of her best friend. Rachel had met her own husband while speed dating, so who knew? Maybe Rachel's luck would rub off on her. After half an evening of lackluster 5-minute dates, that hope had all but deflated until Nathan Munch sat down in front of her, breaking through the haze of romantic mediocrity with a brilliantly handsome smile. And then he opened his mouth. "So, Nathan, what brings you to speed dating?" Tessa had asked, after they'd traded introductions. "Honestly, my sister signed me up. What about you?" "My best friend organized the event." Tessa gestured toward Rachel, who was busy resetting the timer. "She thought it would be beneficial for me to expand my social circle." "Beneficial?" Nathan repeated, grinning. "I love that. Very, diplomatic. Most people would just say, 'My friend thinks I'm hopeless at dating.'" Tessa felt heat creep up her neck. "Well, I wouldn't put it like that." "Fair enough. So, what do you do when you're not diplomatically expanding your social circle?" "I'm an actuary at Brennan Mutual." She straightened slightly. After all, it was an impressive title at a respected firm. "I analyze statistical data to assess risk and uncertainty for insurance policies." Cool. Nathan nodded, like she'd told him she collected bottle caps. "That sounds like a lot of math." "There is considerable mathematic modeling, yes. Probability calculations, mortality tables, financial projections." She trailed off as his expression grew more amused, leaving her flustered. "Well, what do you do?" she asked pointedly. He leaned forward slightly. "I'm working on a graphic novel right now. Well, when I say working on it, I mean I have about 30 pages of sketches and the world's most detailed backstory for a character who doesn't actually appear until chapter 14. "That's an interesting project. Do you do that full time?" Nah, I teach kids art classes at the community center to pay rent. The comic thing is just for fun. But I'm sure it's not as fun as spending all day doing math. There was something in his tone. Was he mocking her? Tessa's smile became razor sharp. Well, I'm glad you get to spend your days doing something easy. Nathan's eyebrows shot up, and for a moment, his easy smile faltered. Then it was back, though it seemed a little more forced now. Exactly, Nathan said, leaning in and resting his elbows on the table. Most people don't get that. They're so focused on climbing corporate ladders and planning every little thing that they suck all the joy out of life. But I'm sure you're not like that. Well, I would argue a little planning and preparation tend to yield better results than just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. His eyes narrowed, and Nathan looked on the verge of saying something when Rachel rang the bell. Tessa blew out a sharp breath as he left, and stiffly circled the not interested option next to his name on her sheet, grateful she'd never have to see him again. But 2 months later, when Rachel had implored Tessa to fill in one of the open spots at her speed dating event, Tessa once again found herself face to face with Nathan Munch. Their second 5-minute date had gone as dismally as the first, as did the next date and the one after that. And here Nathan was, sitting in front of her for the 5th time, with his stupid man bun and his stupid 5 o'clock shadow and his stupidly handsome face. It was going to be a long evening indeed. 3 months later, Tessa was having a dreadful day. Her mother had decided to prematurely start the annual holiday guilt tripping over Tessa's perpetually single status in October. Worse, her mother's lecture was precipitated by the rumor that Julian Barrow, Tessa's ex, was recently seen house hunting in the Fairview neighborhood with his new girlfriend. Tessa's mother, Ann Smith, realtor extraordinaire, had it on good authority that Julian was in the market for a home of no less than $800,000 and an engagement ring of no less than $15,000, facing down another holiday season as the only single person in her family. Tessa did the unthinkable. She called up Rachel and asked to join the next speed dating night.